Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. I am really excited about this live today. I want to bring in a special guest, and she will be joining us soon. But what I want to talk about today is identity. I want to talk about healing. I want to talk about how you can use whatever it is that you're going through to truly help you build a life that you might not think is possible right now. So, as always, my name is Jay Skibbins, and I just get so excited and so passionate to talk to you guys because over and over and over again, especially with co-parents, I see people who are trying to figure out co-parenting and then their life is secondary. So they try to figure out co-parenting and then the rest of their life gets the leftovers. I want to help you figure out life and then let co-parenting fit into that. So I'm going to bring on Allie and what's actually possible. So as she comes on, hello, hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. It's nice to meet you. This is our first time
Yes,
actually talking face to face.
I know. It's nice to meet you too. Thanks for
Where
having
are you
me on.
located? You're welcome. Where are you located?
I'm just outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, I can kind of hear
Yeah.
it. So that makes
Yeah.
that
I
makes sense.
try really hard to turn down the southern accent when I can, but
Nah, you should keep it. Just
oh,
roll
thanks.
with it. That's yeah.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is first off just introduce yourself
Yeah.
and obviously to the people of Instagram that are coming from my page, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'm Allie, and as it says on there, just Allie. So, what I'm doing is building a community of women who have lost their identity through hard times, whether it's divorce, separation, motherhood, a job change, a relocation, just something major that we've poured ourselves out completely to those around us and really have put choosing ourselves last. And within that, we've just lost who we are completely. And I speak of that because I was there. I've been there. I've done it. I came out on the other side and looked in the mirror and was like, I don't even know who I am. Like, what do I like? What do I do? What do I do with all this time? And so I want to build a community of women who are going through it so I can help show them that it's possible to rediscover who you are.
Yeah, I mean that's huge, and that's honestly a lot of what I do as well. Obviously, I'm not a woman, so it's not like a.
No.
I work primarily with moms though, and what I see over and over again is that
Mhm.
different moms have different like moments that they realized it,
Yeah.
right? So like I think that a lot of them, a lot of the roots of it started in childhood.
Hmm.
Definitely got deeper in the relationship, sunk super down deep when they had kids.
Yeah.
But then what was your like waking up moment to like, oh dang, this is my life now. Like what was the moment you realized?
Yeah, so in the middle of a really rocky part of my past relationship, my last relationship, I woke up one day feeling like, what is happening? I just literally, it was a random Tuesday, and I woke up and was like, I don't even know who I am. I don't recognize myself. I don't know what I like, and it was just like, I wish there was some like one solidifying moment that happened, but it wasn't. It was just a random day of being like, holy crap, I don't even know who I am anymore. And I was like, this has got to change. I got to fix it.
Yeah, I mean I think that happens all the time, that it's not a
Hmm.
what is like the clouds part, the heavenly
Yeah,
beings down. It's not usually like that. It's like
it's
you
not
wake up
cinematic.
one right. You wake up at one day and you're like, oh, I felt like this for the past 3 months, three
Yeah.
years. I
Hmm.
don't think I can go through another day like this.
Yeah,
So then
literally.
what did you do? Like how did you move through that?
For me, it started with one small step every day of doing something that maybe I used to do or something that I was interested in. Like, for example, I'm big on journaling. And so I realized on that same day that I hadn't journaled in probably a year. And I was like, okay, let's start with like a brain dump of everything that I'm
Hmm.
thinking, that I'm feeling, who I was, who I am, like all the different things. And so I just put it all on paper. It was like, okay, what do I do? What's the one thing that I'm going to start with to get myself back and to get that identity back. And it was something as simple as saying no to a plan that I would have been expected to say yes to. But instead of just saying yes, I was like, no, actually, I can't, or I don't want to, or whatever it was.
Well, and
So,
so let me ask you about that because that's another thing that comes up with
yeah.
my like the moms I work with a lot. It's like the pressures, and it's not always like
Hmm.
explicit. It's like you should do
Right.
this or you have to.
Right.
It's more like this underlying guilt or anxiety if you don't say yes.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
how did you start to shift that?
Being transparent with my kids specifically. So if it was
Mhm.
something they were asking me to do, or my spouse before, if it was something that they were asking me to do, I was just transparent about it. And instead of just being like, no, and being hardened or like aggressive, I just explained no and why I didn't want to
Mhm.
do it. And it wasn't like this big, like, I'm me now and I'm taking myself back. And it doesn't have to be like burn it all down at once. It doesn't have to be super aggressive and in your face. It was something as simple as being transparent about, like, hey, no, I really don't want to do that. Here's why, or here's what I would rather do, or here's my compromise on how we can
Mhm.
both win here.
Yeah, well, and I think that that's good to know because I think that a lot of people look for like, they don't
Mhm.
realize they're looking for a quick fix or like a
Yeah.
lottery ticket, but they're really looking for a quick fix or a lot like the
Yeah. Oh,
one
yeah.
thing that's going to change everything. But unfortunately, what you're saying is like it just takes consistent effort.
It does. It does. We live in an Amazon world where we want everything right now. If it doesn't come overnight or next day, we don't really even want it. We move on to the next thing. But it does take consistency, especially if you've been a people pleaser your whole life or you've been putting yourself last. You're not going to retrain yourself in a day on how to put yourself first. It's going to take flexing a muscle that you're not used to flexing at all, and a baby step of like, okay, I'm going to say no, but let's see how it lands before we choose to say no or choose ourselves next time.
Okay, so then like I'm curious. I gotta ask. Then
Okay.
it sounds like some of those new things you decided is that part of what led to the split. Like I would imagine that someone who's listening to this who might be in a relationship, or for me, it's like the co-parents who are in a co-parenting
Mhm.
relationship. Part of the fear is like, but if I change this, then people are going to be upset. My partner might be upset. My co-parent might be upset. So how did you handle that?
Oh yeah, it was definitely a big part of, like, I don't want to upset him by saying no or by choosing myself in this moment. And so it did take for both of us. It wasn't the main reason for the split at all, but I think of course that it had something to do with it, just because when you're with somebody for 5 years and you're putting them first all the time, and then all of a sudden it flips 180 the other direction, it's like, okay, wait, whoa. But for me, and I'm still in the middle of it, so it's kind of like I have to be a little careful of what I say. But for me, choosing to leave was part of choosing myself first. And that's heavy to say, is like, I realized that choosing myself in that moment, it was one and the same. I had to leave to be able to do that. And not because he's definitely not controlling or anything like that. Like, definitely not that. I just knew that to fix everything, I personally in that moment had to burn it all down to be able to start completely over.
Yeah, well, and I think that there's levels to it. What I really help clients understand is like going from like shitty to okay
Yeah.
is a big jump, and it takes a lot out of you. It requires you to kind of kill
Mhm.
off that old version of you and
Yeah.
let go of what you're talking about, the people pleasing, the putting everybody
Hmm.
else first. But then there are definitely like a group of people that I work with that are trying to go from like good to great.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's kind of where the jump that you were making is like things weren't awful, terrible, can't live like this, but it was like, I know there's more.
Yes.
So what do you
Definitely.
say to people who like are at that point where it's like, my life is okay. I'm fine. My kids are good. I have a good job. My partner's good. But there's that itch that's always there. What do you say to those people?
If there's an itch that's always there and your life is good but not great, what are you doing? Because life life is so short. It seems long, right? Like, it's fleeting though, and it's so short. And if you're just settled with okay, then I think you're comfortable. and you're scared of becoming uncomfortable to reach great all the time. And so if you're sitting in a space of it's nagging at you, it's eating at your gut, like constant, like this little burn in your belly of like, it's driving me crazy, I have to do something. You've already made your decision. You're just still
Mhm.
negotiating with being comfortable versus uncomfortable for a short amount of time. And so I say, go for it. Like you've got to make the change or it's going to eat at you forever.
Well, and I think I've seen that that must be like a trending, and not to bite on what you said, but like that
No,
you're
yeah.
negotiating with comfort. I feel like
Hmm.
that's popping up a lot of places.
Yeah.
So, and I think that this is, one thing I've definitely learned in my work with women is in those moments, and especially leading up to those moments, and like the life that it takes to get stuck, is
Hmm.
that they lose touch with their intuition.
Hmm.
Like I think
Oh
that a
yeah.
lot of women, especially in the co-parenting space, they're told like take your emotions out of it, like check your emotions at the door, Biff method, the gray rocking. So they're told to
Yeah.
take their emotions out of it.
Hmm.
But then how do you have intuition? Like I guess my thought, my question to you is like, would you describe yourself as an emotional person? And if so, how do those work for you?
I am emotional. I definitely feel all the feels. And so that's why I rely heavily on journaling so that I can decipher what's emotional versus intuition and what's like a rash emotional response and impulsive versus like, no, this is a problem long term and we need to fix it. And so going through that or like sitting in a space of that, you've got to do a lot of inner work and be like, okay, if nothing changed right now, emotion aside, and that sucks because I'm an emotional person too, like try, even if you are emotional, you can still say like if nothing changed from how it is right this second, are you okay with it? And if it's like, yeah, I guess so. No, no, girl, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Like, be, you've got to be uncomfortable with being comfortable.
Right. And I think so, and I love that because it does come back to your relationship with discomfort.
Yeah. Sorry, I got let my dog in.
Yes, they're over here as well. And I think that because you had named a couple of people that obviously I work with co-parenting moms, but
Hmm.
you'd also talked about people who are moving, people who are
Yeah.
job switching or going through
Mhm.
big life changes. Do you see this that because I see this in co-parenting that the moms will try to get this ironclad parenting plan, and
Yeah.
what their goal is, like, yes, their goal is that the kids are okay. They frame it so that the kids have the best, but what I find when we dig a little bit deeper is actually that they don't want to face their triggers. They don't want to
Mm.
face the discomfort. They don't want
Yeah.
to have to communicate when the other person's difficult to communicate with. So
Right.
like how like especially with your group or how you help people, how do you help them when there you can't promise certainty in co-parenting and moving and changing jobs? What do you say to somebody who is going to face a clearly uncertain future?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest one is when you can't just be like, yes, here's a solid plan, guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed, right? It wasn't guaranteed that the situation they're in right that moment was ever going to work or not work, right? Like, but they took the chance on it. And so if it's worth taking the chance and then stumbling into something else that may end up being better
Mhm.
than they ever thought, then it's worth doing, right? And so there's no guarantee. You can never guarantee somebody that. And that's the first thing I'll say is like, I can't promise you that it's going to be just incredible on the other side of this, but I can promise you that you'll find yourself and that you'll find something better. Have this feeling of something more. I need something like I'm missing something. There's better out there, reap that. I have like the analogy in my mind of like reaching for something greater. Like you're holding on to the small teddy bear, but the big teddy bear is like just on the other side of the door if you would just open the door. And so, I can't promise that it's going to be okay, but I can promise if you already feel that way, then it can't be worse than it already is.
Yeah, and I think that that can be a hard, like you have to give up something. You have to give up that
Mhm.
comfort, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that, and you almost like, to me, I had to hit a rock bottom or like a
Yeah.
version of a rock bottom to kind of get me to change, like to get me
Mhm.
to be like, you're right. Like, okay, it can get worse than this. So, like, what is it? Or I guess, in a similar way, for me, I was just so focused and so angry at my co-parent that
Yeah.
like I would like almost watch myself having conversations
Mm-hmm.
about her, and it was
Oh
almost
no.
like this out of body experience that like
Yeah.
the loop or the track would start playing, and I'd start like complaining, and I'd like what I'd even mean to start talking about. So hold on, I think I got a call, but so here's the next question I have for you, because you work with so many different people. Who do you feel like you're most drawn to? Like when you have people come to you, who do you feel like the strongest connection to?
It's usually the women who have lost their identity in motherhood completely, or somebody who's, and most often, honestly, is somebody who's sitting on the brink of making the decision to get a divorce or separation or break up like long-term relationship, and they just don't know how to do it because they're so comfortable in that situation or with that partner that they're so scared to make the leap because it's, what am I going to do? Where am I going to live? How am I going to afford this? Like, so that's the people that I make the connection to, because that's where I was, right? Like I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And when I first made the decision to leave, I had this grand idea that we were going to work out and that it was going to be fine, and that I would leave and I would get my space and I'd be able to re-identify who I am, and that it financially I'd be okay because, I've been selling real estate for 7 years and it was going to be fine. I hit complete rock bottom. Didn't know how I was going to afford groceries, moved from the big dreamy house to an apartment where I share a bedroom with my daughter so that I could just like hit a hard reset. And so it's usually those women who are like afraid to make that change, but they really need to make that change or really want to. They're feeling that pull. That's who I connect with the most, because I can speak with full transparency and clarity and know because I've lived it.
Yeah, well, and okay, so that I appreciate that, because that again, working so much with moms, what do you say to that mom? Because I know like mom's number one thing when we talk is like I just want what's
Mhm.
right for my kids. I just want to make sure my kids are okay. So that mom who's talking to you, she's like either on the brink of divorce or she's starting to co-parent, and
Yeah.
maybe she's fighting so hard to keep the house or fighting so
Hmm.
hard to get that thing, but it's keeping her attached to the situation. How do you just said you're transparent. How do you help her take that step, knowing it's probably going to be worse for a little bit?
So you have to be, yes, the kids are so important. Our kids have to be okay. Like as moms, that's our first instinct, is to protect the kids. But if you're not okay, your kids will never be okay. And so at the end of the day, how much is your peace worth to you? Is it worth being completely unhappy, but you got the house, but you're miserable? Your kids are going to be miserable too. Like your kids will be fine no matter what. Like kids are so resilient. Bless my kids' heart. They've really been through it, like all of them. And they're okay as long as I'm okay. And I have noticed that each time, like part of finding my identity again and putting me first is that I can't pour out for them something that's already empty. So I'm pouring
Mm.
back into me. And for me, choosing the piece of downgrading to a small apartment was the most important thing, because it gave me the financial, like, I live way below my means now, right? So that gave me that security that I needed. But it was the most peace I ever found. And so sometimes you just have to go all the way back. And when you're peaceful, they will be peaceful too. But they will not thrive if you are emotionally in like this massive turmoil.
Okay, and so I just want you to say it again. So you're saying that your kids will be okay when you're okay.
When you're okay. They look at you, especially to mom. They need dad too. They need dad to be okay as well. And that's where that healthy co parenting really is so important, because even if y'all aren't okay together, you have to be okay individually for each of them and for long term mental health, right? But kiddos especially look to mom as the nurturer. And if she, I'm glad you wrote that down. If she is not okay. If she's really struggling, they can tell when you're miserable. They know when you're unhappy. And
You
so you
mean
have
wait,
to
wait,
work
wait?
on
You
it.
mean even if I don't say it, even if I don't say I'm terribly
Oh,
okay? But seriously,
okay.
that because I don't know if you hear it enough, but like the reason I made you repeat it is because so many moms would be like, "Well, I'll be as long as my kids are okay, I'm okay."
No, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. My kiddo, my middle kid, can come to me, and if he can tell that I'm upset, he'll go, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And he goes, "It
So
doesn't matter
wait,
how
so
many
wait, wait,
times,
wait, wait, wait. So
no mask."
our kids are intuitive and empathetic and smart and they pay attention.
To everything. They pick up every cue. They know your behaviors. They know when you're upset, when you're sad, when you're happy. You can't lie to them. You can put on as many brave faces as you want and just be as the tough warrior that you are. I promise you, they see right through it every time.
So then you're saying that it's okay to be upset in front of your kids. It's okay to not have it all together in front of your kids.
Absolutely. And I didn't believe that for a long time because I grew up. God love my parents. They're incredible, but they also just weren't okay showing me that they weren't okay. So I didn't grow up knowing that. But through seasons of hard time with my kids, because they've kind of grown up with me, I had kids young, I realized that, you know what, it's okay for me to show them that I'm crying and upset, and we talk through it, especially this season. I cry in front of them. There's days where it was hard just to get out of bed because I was so upset that this crazy, turn of events happened. Even though it was my choice, it's still like I can't believe I got here. And I would talk them through that. Be like, I'm upset, but here's why, and here's how it's going to get better.
Well, and that part, because again, so many moms will come to me and they're like, well, Jay, I'm the safe parent. I'm the safe space. And what I see over and over again is that a lot of moms who tell me that they're the safe space are the
Mm-hmm.
ones who simply suppress their own emotions and keep it all bottled up, and they take on all their kids' emotions. So they think they're being safe. But and I think that you would know this as a woman too, like it wouldn't be safe if a partner was doing that. Like imagine
No,
that a partner of yours was like, "Oh, you can express all the emotions you want to, but you're never going to see my emotions. Like
not once ever.
I will keep them bottled up. I will keep them hidden away. You will never know what I feel." So to me, there's this change in if you're truly going to be the safe space for your kids. Safety is I feel anger too, and this is how I handle it. I
Yeah,
feel sadness, and this is how I handle it. Not
yeah.
I never feel anger. I never feel sadness.
How can they learn how to be healthy adults and process their emotions really, in a healthy way if they never see somebody do it?
So then, who is telling them to not do that? Because I think as a woman, you're probably hearing it more explicitly than I am. Who are these people who are telling moms, women to not emote in front of their kids?
It's a learned behavior, and I have no idea where it came from. I think it's because our parents were that way and their parents were that way. And so I think it just is a generational cycle that I feel like our generation of adults is just now learning how to unlock. Because you think about your grandparents, parents, you just shut up and put up, and you're tough, and you don't cry, and boys don't cry, and girls cry, and blah, 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 right? And so rinse and repeat,
Hmm.
rinse and repeat. And then if you show emotion, you get yelled at. And like it's a learned behavior over time. And it's just now the world is like stepping out of the fog going, oh, we can be humans and teach our kids that it's okay to have emotions, and here's how we deal with them.
Yeah, and I see this over and over again with my clients is that the more you are okay with your emotions, the
Mhm.
less triggered you are by your kids.
Oh yeah.
Because so many of the moms I work with, they see these big emotions in their kids and they see
Hmm.
that something's wrong. Like
Yeah.
proof that the divorce was bad or proof that the co-parent's so awful. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait, you want your kids to be emotionally healthy, but then when they express emotions, you say it's bad. So it's like this is
Right.
where being able to sit with your own emotions and understand them a lot like deeper will allow you to
Hmm.
see your kids as just emotionally expressive instead of like emotionally troubled or emotionally like there was a problem.
Yeah.
So what I want to we'll wrap up here in a minute or two. But you said that there's a group that you do. Like, how do people get into contact with you? How do they start knowing more about you or what you do?
Yeah, so my page is relatively new in the world of stepping into this. I shifted from real estate into this community of Season of Her. And so the way that people have been reaching out to me is just through direct message right now. I'm able to respond pretty quickly to everybody and have that open forum. I also have a guide where if you're not ready to talk to me about uh, your season, your situation, or need that help, it's a guide that walks you through 8 chapters of figuring out who you are and where you start to make that change. It's the guide that I needed when I had that epiphany on that random Tuesday when I woke up like, holy crap. So I created it for other people so they could start their own quiet process if they wanted to.
Nice. And that's good because I think that people, I've been doing this for about 5 years now, and people will come at completely different parts of the process and parts of
Mhm.
the journey that it's cool to be able to meet them where they're at. So, what we'll kind of wrap up with is if there's somebody watching who might be having that random Tuesday today, like
Yeah.
what's one thing you'd want to say to her?
Somebody's having a random Tuesday today on a Monday. I would say it's going to be okay. You don't have to figure it out right now. I hate the phrase it's going to be okay because when you're going through it, you're like, it's not going to be okay. It will, but you don't have to have it all figured out right now. Make one decision that your future self would want, one decision that your future self shows up as today, and that will start a snowball. Do it again tomorrow. Even if you don't feel like getting out of bed today, even if you're struggling to put on clothes, brush your teeth, brush your hair, shower, one small decision every day until that confidence is actually truly there. You're showing up confident even when you're not. And once it's finally there, it will snowball bigger.
Well, good. I appreciate that. I mean, because it's something that I see. Because I said I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm running a group right now that is some of my alumni from my main offering that have been with me for years, and they're like the creators is a 12-week program that kind of gets you out of survival mode, and then these
Okay.
women have been practicing it for a while now, and it is like what we work on is a daily ritual, and even these
Mhm.
people who are out of the co-parenting fog and out of the everyday chaos, they're still coming back to something small every day. And that's what I do. Like I don't think that, us as people who are helping others, it's not like we've mastered this and we don't
No.
do it anymore. You and I are just showing people like what I do in my life. Like this is what I do still because I still am facing a lot of the emotions that I faced before.
Yeah, I don't think you just overcome trauma all of a sudden or overcome hard situations. I think we get busy with life. And so if you don't find that grounding root of doing something small every day or keeping that routine the way that you're teaching, it's it's so easy to just resort back or just fall back on past habits, unhealthy habits, things like that. So you always default back to what you know, right? And so if you do something small every day and to keep that routine, that becomes your default. And so it's important that no matter how healed or past it or whatever you are, it's super important to keep that as your baseline.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. So,
Yeah.
Allie, I appreciate you so much. I came across your page and I just felt like I don't come across people in the divorce co-parenting space that I feel like speak my language very often. So when I come across somebody, I always want to reach out and get in
Yeah.
contact. So I, from what everybody, or from, what you said, if you're interested in what Allie was sharing and that guide, the season of her. Check out her page. It's probably in your bio and the link,
It
probably.
is. Yep, it is.
Okay, so then check her out if you're interested. Otherwise, Allie, I appreciate you so much for coming on and talking with me.
Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. This was great.
Good. All right. Well, I hope you have a good day, and everybody else hope
Thanks.
you have a good day too.
You too. Okay, see ya.
See ya.
Bye.